Welcome to Satsang.
Not quite sure what I'm doing here. I've been having exquisite conversations with you since I first sat down with you, and you invited somebody to keep the conversations going. And I kind of love a sparring partner in life anyway. And I don't find there are that many people with whom I can talk about what happens inside here. A, because it's very difficult for me to articulate them. And B, because quite often I get the sense of people backing away if I open, if I... So I enjoyed something that's been going on around since I first sat down with you. When I walked in the first day, I get that what's attracted me to you is something under the kind of headline of feelings. And most of my life in the last 20 years or so, since I kind of bumped into Ramana, this has very much become a much gentler wave. And I remember hearing myself say, probably 20 years ago, that suffering as such was finished. It felt like a pretty kind of outrageous thing to say in a human form. But there was like a complete removal of doubt around who I am and what this is. And I saw that this is designed as a sensory collecting apparatus, and it's going to have experiences, and some of them are going to be uncomfortable, painful. But it's only if I engage with them mentally. For me, that's what suffering is. It's that mental. Holding on to them or pushing them away, either or. Mm-hmm. And I saw that I didn't have to actually do that. And I'm blessed with a relationship that pushes me and tests me and prods me and pokes me. It's a very beautiful relationship. From where I'm sitting, it's a much more challenging and uncomfortable place from where my partner sits. Anyway, just before I came to Satsang, I had a really intense, I'd spent the day up on the mountain, and I'd had an intense feeling of discomfort connected with what was happening with my partner. And when I came to sit with you, that's why I chose to speak. And we never actually got there because you asked me to put my hand on my heart. And of course, as soon as I do that, the stories just, for me anyway, dissolve in a bigger picture. They don't, it's not that they're not there, they just melt into something bigger. And I had a similar thing happened last night, where I had a dream in which my 40-year-old son was still a 3-year-old child, And I don't, unless you want me to, I don't need to go into the story, but what happened in the dream was I experienced intense rage at the situation, intense horror and intense grief because he disappeared at the effect of an outside situation which I suddenly found myself in. So when I woke up, the body was doing its chemical thing that it does in those situations. Of course, one of my first responses, and I remember hearing you say something yesterday or the day before, that everybody who comes and sits here is going to end up hating you. And I thought, little does she know.
You'd be surprised.
Little does she know. Anyway, I wanted to rip you to shreds this morning.
Yes, I know.
It lasted about 30 seconds for a minute, because as soon as I put my hand on my heart, everything changes. And that kind of brings me to the crux of why I'm sitting here. It's you and I apparently have some slightly different views around evolution. You see humanity as evolving, or so I understand, so I understood. And I see jivas as learning, perhaps. And I've certainly been blessed incredibly in this lifetime with teachers of all shapes, sizes. Most people I've come into contact with, really. And they've all been pointing me towards this really. And in that, the beauty of the mind, the beauty of the power of the intellect to use discernment has been a beautiful gift in this jiva's experience, in so much as when I see suffering, I have immediate understanding and appreciation. I've never used the word compassion because I'm not quite sure what it means. And when it's happening in here, it's only as long as it takes for me to come here. And in that, I just want to say a big thank you, because that experience you gave me is very similar to experience to kind of what I've used in my life to bring me back here. But I've never found anything that's been so quick. And I'm certainly happy to take that on board. And I've spoken a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Well, first of all, I have no views, no opinions. Who are you beyond your views and your opinions? You are not just a sensory collecting apparatus, as you called it. There's this form. As long as it is perceived as only a sensory collecting apparatus, you put yourself in a position of being other to consciousness you. Somehow it's outside of the consciousness camp, consciousness here and the jiva here. To come here is not a peaceful experience. It is to look with the eyes of existence, with the eyes of pure consciousness being. It is to see that there is no separation between you as the formless and you as the form. So, us speaking of an evolution is not an idea about it. Feeling, we are talking feeling. Feeling includes what we could call the emotional reality, but it also includes what we call knowing, which is beyond an opinion, beyond a belief, Opinions change. Beliefs are mutable. You believe this today, tomorrow it'll be something else. That doesn't mean there isn't continual growth. But that is tasted and felt and known. It is not an idea of growth. You can see it in beings. When a being comes into recognition of being, you feel an emanation. Their first taste, let us say the vibration, is growing. You can taste, feel the hum of vibration coming from the being. And the more they melt in being, the more they immerse, so that vibration grows, grows, grows. You are not just a sensory collecting apparatus. You are the means for myself to witness myself and thus emanate. I cannot see myself without a mirror in front of myself. If you imagine, and perhaps it's not the first time to have heard it, but imagine consciousness as a diamond, and each of its facets is one of its myriad creations. When the facet is not aware of that of which it is a part, and it's only consumed with its own facet, it is still light, it is still vibration, but it's not quite humming fully yet. When it comes into recognition of the entirety of the one that contains the all, then it can shine. Then it can do its job. It is not just collecting sense memories.
Yes, that's a lovely example. Thank you.
When you came to the cushion that day, we pushed you into your knowing. Your knowing has never left you, and it's been deepening and growing for many, many years, that's clear. But now we're ready to take it even deeper so that you can realize you are not separate as this form. The dream that you had last night is not separate from consciousness being. It is the vast intelligence of I, expressing through what we could call your dream state and revealing yourself back to yourself. So it matters very much. Matter matters. But there is also wisdom in what you're discovering and what you have been discovering for years, that you are not only matter, or what we are discerning calling matter. Matter as the light waves that you are.
Yeah, I think you've hit a little nail on its head around matter mattering. Because it's so apparent to me, the transience of it, in the form of thoughts or feelings or bodies or planets or universes, whatever it is, that is something other, something matter.
Say that last bit again.
Something, whatever the matter is. I can just hear my mother there. What's the matter? Because of the obvious transience of it, the obvious coming, arising and passing. So when I've woke, dreams are the one place where if there are going to be deeper emotional, and I think that's possibly one of my challenges, is separating emotional from feeling, which you use the word knowledge.
But the emotional reality is still you. So consciousness will appear in the form of an emotion to get your attention. And when a being is fully consumed with its facet, its emotions are representative of that. Okay, they have a limited view, but they are not entirely wrong. Because the facet is still part of the diamond, even if it's forgotten the diamond. There is a distant memory of it. This is what we've been speaking of. And that distant memory is your knowing.
So do you think the diamond, is a word, do you think? I mean, I'm just so mentally polarized.
Is that so?
Just in case you haven't noticed. It's all those years with testosterone flying through the blood.
No, it's all those years in a beautiful human form.
Yeah.
Yes, the masculine has played its part within that. That's also what we've been talking about. That's also why we have to dive in. You've just said it.
Yeah.
All those years of testosterone, it's much more complex, much more beautiful than that.
Yes. Well, it's been a lot more beautiful for me than it has for some of my partners, I think.
Why?
That's
You
a good
said that
that's a
earlier.
good question, which I don't think I can answer. It's in the mystery box for me, because my experience in that situation, when the testosterone was flying very strongly, was it wasn't always easy, but there was something very beautiful in the connection. There was love. That's what there was.
What do you mean? Can you identify how, as you call it, the testosterone was flowing? What do you mean?
Yes, it's very lusty. It's very wanting. It's very desirous of connection on a real sexual, not just physical sexual, but on a I'm a man, you're a woman. Let's dance. You know, whether it's emotionally, sexually, materially, family, all of those. It's all of those things.
Yes. Now, that is not separate from you.
No,
From you as pure being.
I've never felt it separate, but I'm having the experience sitting here now and over the last 10 years where the testosterone has dropped, that I have to question when you say it's not separate from me. Well, it's different.
Yes.
It's different being in this body without those hormones. It's a lot.
But let's go deeper than hormones. The hormones are the expression of a deeper reality. So we've spoken actually together on the cushion of the difference of the Shiva and the Shakti and their unique capacities. And we also spoke over these last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, of what occurs when form appears. And the journey has been, we don't even need to know why, it just is, that the journey for form is to initially forget its formlessness.
Yes.
Now, we have seen and tasted the repercussions of remembering after forgetting. You can taste it in a being when they remember and they hum. So clearly something is occurring in that remembrance. A deepening is occurring within the remembrance. But however, when the forgetfulness is still here, the form tastes need. Deep need. A need that can never be satisfied while it is committed as a form. Now there is wisdom even in the need. Because what is it needing? It is needing a sense of completion. It feels incomplete. It has this distant memory that somehow its happiness lies in love. But how does it know that? How do you know that your happiness lies in love?
You just know.
Okay.
You just are attracted
Right.
to what you think is the completion.
Right. So there is wisdom. This child mind is carrying so much truth. It is truth, just it doesn't have the whole picture yet. So it begins its journey to find that which feels missing. And of course it's limited. Because at the moment, remember this one, when it comes into form, it's forgotten its reality. And it feels that it's different. This form is its form. This form is this form. All the forms throughout creation feel different and separate. And that difference is also the birth of your fear of otherness. But at the same time, you want something from that otherness. And the minute you come in front of an other, you actually taste yourself. But almost simultaneously, because the need is so strong at this point in the child mind, it contracts and in a sense funnels its knowing into a tight point of all of my knowing is now going to be put into this one form. And this is going to be the repository. Everything now, all the answers to all my questions have to come from here, from a form. But the original taste is true. That's why it feels so all-consuming when a being falls in love with another being. It is the divine marriage of the little I with the greater I. And, as we said yesterday, it is the marriage between the Shiva and the Shakti, the ring and the arrow. The double marriage. So you're tasting both. And what you're calling the testosterone is, in its purest sense, the one-directional arrow of Shiva.
Yeah.
When it becomes overstretched and committed to itself, when it loses perspective, we could say, then of course it is funneled and fueled by need.
Yeah, I know it well.
Okay.
I have known it well.
Right. Of course you have. All beings have.
Mm.
And all beings are a composite of masculine and feminine. So that need is present in all beings. Let's be really clear about this. This is not a female-male split.
Mm.
And yet there are complexities within that, because the male and female have played beautiful roles in order to strip their roles, in order to strip them of who they think they are. They've had to play very defined roles. Now the Shakti aspect, as we've spoken about, the feminine, for this last chapter of our journey has been necessarily silenced. The capacity to feel, to know the story details. Possibility has been denounced. And we had to go through it. Because the child mind was tasting at the beginning of what we'll call the patriarchal chapter. It was beginning to taste, I am not just my feeling capacity.
Which is a truth.
Precisely. The child mind is always carrying truth. But it misinterprets. Let's say it's very heavy-handed with its seeing. And with that heavy-handedness, it then misunderstood and thought that feeling was bad and anti-God, anti-truth.
Mm.
You cannot know the God self until you feel the God self. You know love without knowing how you know it, because you feel it. But I understand there is also a confusion between, well, what's the difference then between an emotional feeling and a deeper feeling? And we could say there are two groups. But emotions are still not the baddies. But emotions that are contracted versions within yourself are that which arises from your need not being met. Now, to be immersed in the reality will still be to have emotions. A form of Ma is still receiving and feeling emotions, but they are entirely different. They are not fueled by need of anything. They are not a definition of existence. They are an aspect within existence, within myself, that come to express something. It's always myself communing with myself. So when I say matter matters, I mean every aspect of you is you. Even that which is not understanding yet is still you. And unless you dive in and look at it, that dissonance remains in the psyche, in the collective psyche, and thus you can't shine as the light that you are.
So give me an example of dive in. What are you wanting to communicate? Because I'm not hearing. I'm not.
Sure. Yes.
I feel as open as I could possibly be to whatever wants to come and meet this.
Yes.
I don't feel like I'm sitting in fear. I feel open.
Of course.
And the same in my relationship. I feel very open to meeting. But if my partner asks me to dive in and I see my partner in suffering because of the emotions, I have a problem connecting with her. That's interesting how quickly I've gone there. Well, okay. I have a problem connecting with her where there is obvious suffering, there is anguish, there is... It's not just feeling a pure feel, a rage or something. It's very combined with mental activity and...
Yes.
So for me, I would be very wary of just diving into that. Then there's going to be too writhing.
I understand, and there's wisdom in your words. Okay. We know that the feminine capacity has a natural capacity to feel the detail. She can tune into the layers of existence, if you like. And the masculine capacity is not that. His gift is straight through to truth. It's direct. Now, when this comes into form, misunderstanding grows. And as I'm saying, the last chapter of the journey, we've denied the feeling, and we've put all of our faith in direct movement. The need is fueled by the direct impulse.
I own that, yeah.
Now, within that, I'm going to simplify and say the masculine, but it is absolutely not just the masculine. It is the Shiva aspect in both forms. I mean the male, I'm not just confining it to the male. That. But to simplify, he doesn't feel what she feels. And because he doesn't feel what she feels, he negates it. And won't go there. And says that that's not true. And this has been thousands of years of a journey.
I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying, for me, it is true. It's living. I live with it. I can't say it's not true.
Just once, I'm speaking deeper. Okay, it's not so personal to you as a man having a situation with a woman, although it is.
Yes.
At the deepest sense, our truthful seeing that when we become consumed with feeling, we have misinterpreted this actually to deny feeling. Even the female is denying her own feeling. And it's turning into this monster inside of suppression. And the more she doesn't articulate her knowing, the more she feels that her knowing is madness, the more it grows into a monster. Let me give you some really fine examples, because if we don't have something specific, it remains nebulous. So I'm going to use, if I may, two members, one member of the team and his partner. So both are very close to the Ma. I've been working deeply for the last 3 or 4 years, 2 or 3 years. So the female aspect, the woman in the partnership, has been in very strong denial of Shakti, even more than the male. All the faith was put into the Shiva basket, and this being has had a very high seeing of that which lies beyond even mother consciousness, straight through beyond. So she has been residing all of her life, in every aspect of her life, in Father's house, let us say. Even when it moved to a spiritual journey, to an inner understanding of who she is beyond the form, she remained in Father's house. It wasn't conscious, absolutely unconscious, because the seeing was pure. But it wasn't stable yet. And the reason for its instability was because there wasn't a full, let us say, grounding in Mother, in knowing being. Because the collective mind has denounced Great Mother in its fury of Great Mother. This fury that you speak of wanting to rip Ma to shreds, is this fury. And the fury at Great Mother then moves to the fury at Mother Shakti, which is the feeling layers, which moves then to Mother Woman. A man once came to the cushion and said, "Why am I hating women so much? What is the origin of my hatred?" It was horror for him to feel it, but he knew it was there. We have to go all the way back, and we see that it's not just in the males. Another female member of the team had said only a couple of months ago, "I've been living my whole life again in Father's house." Another female, constantly denying the Shakti process. So let us say, there's so much here, my love, we have to take it bit by bit, okay?
I'm sitting right with you.
Thank you, sweetheart. Let me break it up into different examples. The leader of the team has said she has lived her whole life in Father's house, and even whilst living, I am simplifying by saying Shiva house, Shakti house. To be with Ma is to be with Great Mother Consciousness, which is to be with Shiva and Shakti. Okay. Nonetheless, when she stepped into service with this form of Ma, as a composite of both, is also reinstating Shakti within Mother. There's not a choice about it. There's no view about it. It is what is occurring. It is also bringing Shiva into balance. Right? But it is more demonstrably Shakti at this time, because unless we reinstate Shakti, the capacity to feel, nothing can be reinstated. Everything will be out of balance. Now, this form, as a leader of the team, was feeling acutely the layers of, let's say, misunderstanding within other members of the team. Really feeling them. But because she hadn't learnt yet how to know her knowing and articulate her knowing, it was coming out in a very big flood that had an edge to it. An edge of judgment, an edge of anger, an edge that couldn't see the whole picture. The arrow was trying to articulate a seeing, and the arrow wasn't stable. And what was articulating was a furious Shakti. If you imagine, knowing has been suppressed, and with that comes a sense of inner hysteria that we spoke about yesterday. And the more it becomes suppressed, and the more you're told inwardly and outwardly that your knowing is wrong, the more it grows and grows and grows until it comes out in an explosion. And this is what happens when beings come to the heart initially, is because their feeling reality has been so silenced, it is an explosive time, and that makes it very confusing. What occurred, and what is occurring now, is that a great deepening, a shift has occurred within this being, where she's coming to recognize the great simplicity of feeling all of that subtlety and learning how to articulate in absolute clarity what she is feeling. The Shiva and the Shakti, Ma is now expressing through this one. I cannot express to you the wonder of watching a being finally realizing that no is a vast emanation of love. It is love. The stillness of the no. The clarity of love. But it has come, it took 2 years of fine digging in the detail of how she was, in her own words, exasperated by the process of Shakti Mother. She could see that beings had to have a time to, let's say, muck about, to throw their knives at Ma and to be a demonstrative, willful child. And she could see that it was wrong, let's say. This was not truth in acting. But her own denial of Shakti was denying the process. She said, it's so exasperating. Why does it have to take so long? Shiva feels much more direct. Off we go, A to B, we're there. Shakti is a long process. Again, I'm simplifying because it's not just Shakti on her own or Shiva on his own. It's you. We cannot separate. Now, to go back, to be more specific with your journey with your partner, to go back with another member of the team and his partner. His female partner, who has denied Shakti, has nonetheless been craving the him, her rock. She has still put all of her faith in her male rock, but she's been craving him to feel for thousands of years. Will you please just feel what I am feeling, then we can move. Until he can feel what she is feeling, dishonesty is there, because his inability to feel what she's feeling, his fear to really feel the emotional landscape, which is his fury at Mother, because if he has to feel the emotional landscape, he has to remember Mother. He has to remember his feeling of abandonment. He has to remember his love for love. It's too vast. The Shiva arrow means he doesn't have to feel, he can just carry on, he can just get on with it.
Yeah, I recognise that.
Okay. Now what happened? This is how complex it is in the psyche. The female form, in denial of Shakti, yet craving him to feel Shakti, because she can feel, but she's living in the father house. When he comes to mother house and is finally unraveling his capacity to feel, and he's crumbling into a million pieces, and he's venting all over the place, she recoils. I don't want any of this mess. A huge fear came, and a wall came. There was wisdom too in the wall, because her learned memory was of him exploding and venting in a violent way. And that's what happens with the Shiva arrow when he doesn't have a compass for feeling. So her recoil had truth in it, but also misunderstanding. Because she didn't want the messiness, she didn't want the process. Just hurry up and get on with it, and then we can be back in the absolute. And all of this has to be faced. He does have to take responsibility for feeling. We've been through a very strong process, him close to the form of Ma, because every time what happens within the team is they point each other out at every possible moment. The diving in, let's be clear what I mean about the diving in. I'll give you a specific example to see how it works, how integrity works. Another member of the team were wanting to offer a puja to Mother. And a member of the team, in their love for Mother, offered to buy idlis for the whole team. And the offering was made, but the offering was an arrow. It was direct. It was a commanding offering, let us say. But the love for love doesn't realize it. And when the leader of the team said, "Let me just check in with Ma," the member who said, "Well, I'll just go and get them anyway." And it took a long time to break it down and for him to feel how his offering, his loving, what felt like a loving impulse, was a stamping. And the child mind feels blamed. It feels, but can you not see what I've just done? Can you not see my offering of love? And then it shuts down. If that's what love is going to do to my offering for love, then I won't offer anything ever again. And this is the work, the willingness to see, the willingness to be wrong, the willingness in you to say, I do feel that I'm open, but I'm not open to everything, because I don't know everything.
Well, that seems to be the truth. That seems to be how it is.
So even in saying, I don't know Ma, it feels as if Ma might have a view, but I don't know that that's true.
Yeah,
the mind makes a decision.
I sit comfortably with that because I do have an intrinsic trust in life.
I know you do.
It will reveal when if it needs to, it will in its time. I know that. I don't have doubt about that.
So
but at this moment, sitting here, then I reiterate what you just said. Yes, I don't know more.
So when you encounter something strong burning in your partner, prostrate yourself to it.
Yeah, I've been doing that more and more.
And how does it feel when you do that?
It feels blessed. It feels soft. It feels open, like I said. I don't see that it's having great effect. But I use my own way of bringing myself into that place.
Well, let's throw away your own way. The effect, let's throw away what might be an effect. And allow that you are deepening constantly in your knowing. Even your most intuitive, your deepest knowing, we throw away. The mind will hold on. The most profound seeing, let it go. There is so much space in that willingness to not hold on, and then you deepen again. There is also something very subtle that can play out between the male and the female. It happened in the team again between a male and a female member, where the male was in his journey of allowing the emotion. He went through a phase of saying, I'll let her have her emotional space. I'll be the one holding it. Can you feel how patronized she then would feel? Okay, you'll just be there holding while I vent. You're still not feeling. It's stepping stones to you fully prostrating yourself to not knowing. You are eternally an infant. You cannot be Ma until you are true infant. Do you see that one who says, I can't see an effect yet, is still containing?
Yeah, I needed to hear that.
The remembrance of yourself will for quite a long time construct an identity of a holding of your remembrance. And it's completely understandable. When you've forgotten yourself for millennia, and your capacity to know yourself has been denied and has also been defined as madness, let us remember in the collective mind, it's a big story to unravel.
Sure.
And that means that there is a powerful journey of you holding on and making sure you don't let go of your knowing. And it's most of the time unconscious. And that's why being say, but this is my way to the heart. It can appear as your way for a time, but only for a time, because that is like, those are your stabilizers. You can see and feel your own evolution in this conversation alone. Therefore, you as pure consciousness being are evidently evolving. It's not an idea, it's a seeing.
Thank you for that little jewel.
Thank you for
that jewel of...
That jewel, did you say?
Jewel.
A jewel, sorry my love.
Yeah. D-U.
It's because at the beginning you said you enjoy a sparring partner, so that's probably what I heard. Yes, you are a jewel.
Yeah.
Your knowing is the ultimate jewel.
Yeah, thank you for your wisdom and for your time.
I have nothing.
I see that.
And it is because of your seeing that we can dig in this way. It's everything. Through the digging into the material everything, you deepen in the great everything. Yes. Thank you, my love.
I'm so grateful to be here. To have discovered you. I can feel the immensity of your being. It's so easy. It's so easy to love you. There's a conversation going on in my heart.
Just a bit closer.
There's a conversation going. What do I tell you? I've been imagining that I want to sit and tell you something. I can't figure anything out.
You can't?
I can't figure anything out. But I know I just want to be in that eternal embrace. Yeah. I just want to be in that eternal embrace, yes. Like a child, I can relate to this visual of being a child and embracing the Divine Mother, or the Divine, the Absolute. I just want to sit there. I don't even want to move. But distractions are happening also.
You say it's so easy to love this form. But what you're really saying is it's so easy to love you. Your loving of Ma is the loving of you. How do you know that you love?
I can feel you in my being. In my being. Yeah.
Am I separate from your being?
This moment? No. I don't really know.
Yes.
I have to look at a photograph and
You have to look at a photograph.
At a picture and
That's okay for now.
yeah.
We could say that the form is just your plug-in point back into you, until there is no need for the actual form. That's its job.
Okay.
And for a time, beings just need to keep plugging in to what feels like a form. It's you plugging into you via form. It's always going to be via form while you're in form. Do you see? Because it is through your form that you see the immensity. It is through my form that I see myself. There can be no antagonism, therefore, towards form. It's the point. Can you put your left hand here for the moment? For a time it can feel, when you're close to a form, that somehow love is emanating from it and not emanating from you as a different form. But as I say, how do you know love? You feel it?
Through feeling.
Okay. No one can teach you this. It is not a concept. It is not an idea. It is the knowing that you know without knowing how you know. This is you. That is how you sit in front of the form and know it. To love the form is the knowing. Something feels familiar.
Yes.
Okay. How can it be so familiar? Because it's you. Now it's okay for now that it feels that it's only coming from some other form. But your seeing is so vast, you don't realize. Many beings will be in the presence of a form of Ma and not feel Ma. Do you realize the immensity of even feeling at this level? It is the beginning of the collapse of everything. Because you cannot feel the immensity until you are in submission to it, as you say, until you are a baby in its arms. Now you say you just want to be in the embrace. There is wisdom and misunderstanding here. The wisdom is there is a knowing that there is nowhere else to be. I cannot forget myself again. But the little nugget of misunderstanding that creeps in is, but it's over there. I'm not in the embrace yet. What can I do to be in the embrace? Your knowing is the embrace. Your feeling Ma through this form of Ma is the embrace. There is each, let us say, each country is a being with its own unique qualities and learning capacities. And we could say that the India being, one of its unique capacities, is that it allows itself to succumb to form. It can prostrate to form easily, we can say. It doesn't have a problem with it. We could call that first step divine attachment. That being magnetized by being, the form wholly pinned to the ground by its own knowing. It can't move, it can't go anywhere else, it just has to be close to the form for now. Do you see how love pins you to the spot and doesn't let you go? It's a stepping stone. Again, those stabilizers on the bicycle. Eventually, there won't be need for a form. But the form is what catches your attention. It's what allows you to recognize yourself. And it does not matter what the form is. I'm not saying every single being throughout creation will fall in love with form, but it is very common. And there is a lot of confusion around it, as if somehow it is wrong, as if somehow you're going to become more identified through it. It's not the case. It's the opposite. Because in that moment of collapsing yourself into the arms of Mother that is appearing as a form, you allow yourself to be revealed to yourself. Mother then speaks through a form to you and shows you yourself. Shows you the way that you are misunderstanding still. We could say it is simply your conscience speaking to you.
I don't fully understand the misunderstanding.
Beings are in misunderstanding 99.9% of the time. And it's not a condemnation. It is simply a statement of your journey, of what it is to come into human form. The human capacity can forget itself and it can remember itself. And because you came into form and forgot yourself, as all beings will, you are now fueled by your need for completion, for the embrace. And many, many years of the journey, it's an unconscious fueled need. Let us say all beings know that they want something. They're not quite sure what it is. They think that it's in marriage, they think that it's in a career, they think that it's in a pursuit. And they put all of their faith in it. None of it is wrong. It has to happen because it is you still tasting yourself, but in a finite, condensed way. It is the beginning of your search for yourself, until ultimately you turn the spotlight back inwards and realize it was here all along. So the misunderstanding is in every thought, word, deed, impulse that comes from this one. It's okay. You put your left hand here again and close your eyes. And bring your focus simply to the palm against the chest. Very simple. You can feel the softness of the palm. And that contrasts with the firmness of the chest. And the length of the fingers feel firm. But the fingertips are soft. Okay. Can you feel a warmth there under the palm?
Yes.
Yes. Really give yourself to the warmth. As if you were in complete prostration to that warmth. Is it possible now to feel a quality of space there between the hand and the chest?
Yes.
Okay, so now dive into that space. Be it the space of you. The form of you is still here. The hand is still touching the chest. But now you can also feel the space of you. A you that you cannot touch, but is so intimate. More intimate even than your own skin. Is the space of you contained there, only between the hand and the chest?
No.
No. So feel the expansiveness of the uncontainable space. The uncontainable you. Is the space of you male or female?
Neither.
Neither. And can you see a limit to it?
No.
So now you are discovering the uncontainable, limitless you that has no sex, no definition other than perhaps we could say space. And how does it feel when your focus is wholly on space?
So natural, so beautiful.
Okay. So when you're ready, can you open your eyes, your physical eyes, but let the space of you look through them as them.
This was my difficult part, because with my master it was easy to be in presence. Presence was there, and later on
A bit closer, sweetheart.
I felt my presence in front of my master, And then awareness of that presence also was seen. And then later on it became seamless. But I had to close my eyes all the time. But this method, it's becoming easier. There's more
Okay.
deepening.
Sure. This is a constant deepening. So you have to close your eyes. And then slowly you can open them and you realize presence remains even with the eyes open.
Yeah. I did feel
well.
that sometimes, but not very rarely.
Okay.
Very rarely.
So
it
now,
didn't happen. Now it's easy.
okay, so presence is looking
Yeah.
through the eyes of the form,
Yeah.
seeing presence within this form.
Yeah. And there's something that is also aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's. I can see my presence. I can see the little eye, that is aware of this presence,
Okay.
and the bigger presence, is also knows that. Yeah.
Awareness itself,
Awareness itself.
is it separate from the embrace?
No. No, I understand that.
Okay. So this is, in your question of, but what to do, I want to be in the embrace all of the time.
Yeah, I want to stay there.
So how?
Just be there.
It is a shift of your perspective.
Yes.
You can't think it. The
Yeah.
mind will say, I just want to be there. What can I do?
Yeah.
And it can talk many hours saying, what can I do about it?
Yeah. Yes.
We could say this is the one little bit of doing effort required to actually physically shift your focus here. We know it's not here. You've just said you are uncontainable.
Yes.
Nonetheless, it is through your form that you are discovering the you that is beyond the form. Now, misunderstandings arise when awareness I is forgotten.
Yes.
And remember that you yourself have said, most of the time you haven't been residing as awareness I.
Yes.
And that means misunderstanding is always moving through the form.
Yeah.
And misunderstanding is a need for awareness I. It's a need for the embrace.
Okay.
So bless this beloved misunderstanding. There is also truth in it. It's craving that.
Yes.
But now your task is to feel how the behaviors will still be demonstrating. And your loved ones will be mirrors. You can feel it inside when a contraction comes within, when need is speaking. When you feel cross about something, when you feel agitated, when you feel confused, when you feel hurt, when you feel let down, even when you feel ecstatic. Prostrate yourself to every arising within this psyche. All of it is only coming to remind you of awareness I, and all of it has only come because you have forgotten awareness I and are craving it.
Yes. The need to love, to give love and have love is all happening in my behavior.
So use your family life, your friends and your relationships, your work life, everything as your satsang, everything as your temple. This world is your great master.
I have confusion with the relationship I am in. It's not a relationship, it's a marriage I am in. I'm married 8 years. This is my second marriage. And since a year plus...
A bit close, my love, it's very quiet.
Yeah, and since a year and a half, it's hit rock bottom. And there's nothing in the marriage. I want to separate from that, but my partner is holding on to me, and that's quite challenging. And I was in Puttaparthi, and I was in the dome meditating, and this feeling came to me that I don't know if it's Baba or that I need to be in the marriage, but it's hit rock bottom, and
the voice was, you need to be in marriage.
yeah,
Was it?
something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I did feel distinctly that.
Yes.
And but there's nothing in the marriage anymore. She is very she needs, I don't know, she doesn't want me to be with any master, either Muji or Ananta, who's my master now, and I just need only to be with the masters. And she doesn't want to come to India, and we had a problem, so I never went to her, and the visa has lapsed, and I can't get a visa again, and so it's a hopeless situation, and I don't know what to do. I feel guilty in a way I feel guilty, but I don't want to do the wrong thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very happy that you've brought it to the cushion, because it's everything.
Yeah.
The words that came is, you must be in marriage, are truer than you realize. We have the one divine marriage of the little I with the greater I, and then we have the marriage of the Shiva and the Shakti within, and this then plays out within the worldly marriage form to form. And it is through this one, love has put you together for profound reason. Now it may be that love will ask this particular form to form marriage to separate, but before we can understand that, a diving in is required for full sincerity, to use this time to really dig out the misunderstanding in you, what triggers are pushed in you through this other in the relationship. And this takes some fine work, because the child mind is quite impatient for this. It doesn't really want to dig. It doesn't want to take responsibility. It feels that something isn't right and says something's not right, so I'll go. But what is occurring within you? Now, it is also true that for many partnerships, when one member of the partnership is journeying deeply, something can't remain the same in the relationship. And when the other is not ready for that, it can be a testing time, and sometimes the partners have to step aside from each other to allow the space. But even then, to prostrate yourself to not knowing what is occurring, to really feel what is being dug out in this one, this is Sai's work. Nothing can be hidden, nothing will go missed under his microscope. Now maybe some time will be needed for you to really look at this question within, and in a way very simply sit yourself down, piece of paper and a pen, and write a list of things that you feel she makes you feel about yourself. Can we start there?
Right.
All right.
Okay.
It seems very basic, very blunt, but it is a starting point to have some clarity about this situation. You've been put together. Love doesn't make mistakes.
Okay.
All right? And there's always multiple teachings in one situation. It may be one of the facets, one of those teachings, is that she's come to you so that you can learn to stand as your knowing and not wobble from your knowing. And that she is that voice of doubt so that you can not wobble. Love demonstrates in myriad ways. There'll be other things that she's digging out. What you're calling the she, the wife, is love in the form of that one pushing, pushing, pushing. When you've got those on the paper, when you've got a list, I feel like this because of being in her present, or because she said this or did that. Now you can look. What aspect in myself is in misunderstanding? What need was not met that resulted in me saying, she made me feel like this? Only when all of this fine work is done is there the wisdom enough to say, I cannot be here, or I can be here.
Okay.
I know it sounds basic.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, but it's...
Maybe even this afternoon you can do it, and you can come to the cushion if you feel to tomorrow. And bring one of them, and we can look at it together.
Okay.
No one is an obstacle to your freedom. What appears as an obstacle is pushing you into freedom.
I don't get it again. I didn't get that.
When something feels like it's getting in your way and making your journey difficult, it's actually doing the opposite. It is your journey. It's pushing you to face yourself.
Okay.
Your knowing of love is your knowing of love, is your knowing of love, and it is all that you have. That knowing is goodness. Are you being the goodness that you are?
Yes, that's what I always want to be in. I'm with the masters all the time.
Yes.
So that I can be in that space.
Yes, but you are with a master in the form of your wife. There will be no greater one on the planet. Okay, it is through this one that you are being tested. And love is saying, are you being the goodness that you are? Whatever reactivity comes up in you towards her, against her, or against the situation, this is your opportunity. What is in reaction? Is goodness speaking? Would goodness react? What would love say in this moment? What would Sai say in this moment? And there's only one way you can know what love would say, and that is when you are back here as love. Do you see that when a contraction comes, when you feel something is not good, that's your moment to bring yourself back to goodness and to see what would goodness do here. It's really as simple and as basic as that. Be good.
But what do I do when my partner says I shouldn't have friends, I shouldn't love everybody? I mean, like, I have a lot of friends, and she doesn't like it, and it doesn't suit my taste, and that sort of control and stuff like that.
It's her control, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't suit your taste?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yes, you have a very defined set of tastes,
Yeah.
and she has hers,
Yeah.
and thus the whole of humanity plays out.
Yeah.
Can you put your left hand here again? And again, bring your focus back very clearly into the space between the palm and the chest. Feel the expansiveness of space, of you. Feel the stillness of that expansiveness. Now with the eyes of stillness, still with the physical eyes closed, allow stillness to view your wife. Feel her presence. How does it feel?
There is no separation.
So from no separation, which equals compassion, which equals the goodness that you are, you can now see how the child mind in both of you misunderstand. In her need for love, she holds you close, misunderstanding completion. Okay. Compassion is Great Mother, and this holds the child while it misunderstands. You've just said there's no separation. For now, be in her presence whilst she's in this misunderstanding of your path, and simply emanate your knowing. No decisions yet. Also see if there is something else she's articulating. When you spend time with your friends, is there a sense of you not wanting to be with her? And you need to really look. Put yourself under the microscope and see, is there something in what she's saying that I'm not seeing in myself yet? This is integrity. This is what I mean by love will give multiple lessons in one instance. And you can dig them out when you're here. At the same time, love is also a very firm and clear no when it has to be. Can you be willing to stand before this one you call your wife and say, I don't know why I feel I must sit with my masters, but I feel that I must. Prostrate yourself before the master of your wife. Only then can you see the teaching that love is giving. The immeasurable gift of this marriage. All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you so much. So beautiful.
Hariom. Okay, my situation is like my situation is like the previous person.
Okay.
But in reverse.
You need to put the microphone right by your mouth, I'm afraid.
Okay.
So thank you.
So, my situation is like what the previous person is, but in reverse. So I have been in a very troubled relationship for many, many years. And I can understand from the things that you say that it has all those Shiva Shakti issues and the little child in each of us playing out and banging against each other and jarring each other. Now it's come to a point in time, a situation where I am able to leave. I'm able to move on.
Just 1 second, my love. Can you lift it out? Okay.
So I am actually able now to leave, but nonetheless, it's causing me some turmoil and confusion because I'm thinking I'm feeling guilt, or maybe did I do something wrong? Maybe I didn't surrender enough. Is this my ego saying I must go?
Yes.
So it's part of me that wants to do the right thing, but at the same time, I'm not able to forgive anymore, and I'm thinking that it's best just to move on.
Best just to move on in the sense of leaving the relationship.
Yes.
Let's just be clear. There was a feeling you said that you need to leave. You said at the beginning that there was a feeling that you need to leave. Is that right? I want to be clear about what you're saying.
Yes.
Is the leaving because it feels too much and you don't feel you can forgive, or is there a deep knowing that a leaving must occur?
There's kind of a know. There's always been a knowing that it hasn't been right.
That's different.
But now when I now act on this, then I'm feeling hesitant. I'm feeling
Sure. The reason I'm pushing for clarity for the impulse, because when a being leaps into their knowing, when they say yes to love, then you are then going to be followed by a cascade of doubts raining down on you. And they will be very powerful indeed. And they will have you toing and froing for quite a while. And this is the test of your knowing, the test of your yes to love. And they will keep on coming.
Well, yes, they're coming through him as well, because he doesn't want me to go.
So the clarity of, is there an aspect of you who was leaving because it felt too much, or was it a deeper knowing that there's nothing else that can be done now? You may not even have the answer to the question now in this moment.
It's kind of both.
Okay. So now from this position, from the position of listening to a knowing that you had to leave, now you can dig. This one that needs to forgive. Forgiveness is a concept. What you are is beyond forgiveness. What you really mean is to look from the eyes of compassion as compassion, to no longer be in blame. This we could give it a name, forgiveness, but it's much deeper than that. Can you name one of the doubts that's rising at the moment?
Well, obviously I've been with them for a long time, so it's kind of like there's been loyalty, but now I feel I'm betraying, and another doubt is like a fear of the unknown.
So you're betraying what? You're betraying the unknown or betraying him?
No, betraying our togetherness, our loyalty.
Why does it not feel right to be with him? I know that's a very big question.
Yeah.
And you won't be able to sum it all up right now, but if you can give me a flavour.
I suppose just because of the history, all what's gone on, and just too many personal kind of, how to say, what's the word? There's always a hiccup in the interactions.
But every relationship you're ever going to have will have the same hiccups, will have the same contractions. What matters is, are you both in the same position to look together, to journey together into truth through those contractions? And if you're not in the same place of doing that digging, then sometimes it becomes untenable to be together. It's not fair for both, because neither of you are in the same place.
Yes.
And a being can't be pushed into the heart in that sense. There is a timing. So that's what I'm asking for, that clarity.
Yes.
Has there been that one in you willing to face yourself? And that's the question to ask, because he would have been shining a very bright torchlight onto all of your contractions.
Yes.
Again, can you give me a specific one that's rocked you at the moment? It sounds like some doubts are coming and rocking you in your knowing of whether or not you should have left.
I suppose just him holding on, him holding on so tenaciously, and the fact that we share the same spiritual path. It's kind of a letdown for everyone else.
A letdown for other loved ones.
Yeah.
So in the sense that you feel responsible for their pain of the situation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And this one who feels responsible? You see, there is wisdom even in the one who feels responsible, but also misunderstanding. The wisdom is that goodness can never and will never hurt. Nonetheless, when you know your knowing, it can feel other beings will seem and feel as if they are hurt. It will cause dense ripples, dense contractions, because a being has to face themselves when another being is facing themselves. And the hero and the heroine's journey is to know your knowing without any backup, without any justification. To be willing to stand in front of loved ones and say, but I don't even have the full picture myself yet. But for now, it has to be this way. If I don't listen to my knowing, what is that? That's a living death. It's beyond even a living death. It's total catastrophe when you don't know your knowing. Every doubt that comes up now is a gift for you, because it's rooting you out of your own doubt, of course there will still have been misunderstandings in you towards the him. Let us say the leaving has happened. Okay? And so from this new position, here you find yourself learning to look from the deepest position about this new position. Learning to look from here. To look from the eyes of existence is to transcend the one who needs to forgive or be forgiven. It doesn't mean there won't still be pain in you. There will be. All of those layers are still here. But let's discover the you that is not in contraction and be really clear about it. Okay? Can you put your left hand here on your chest? And again, you are not contained in the center of your chest. Nonetheless, a being very much responds to 3 stages to know the self: concentration, contemplation, meditation. So we begin with concentration. And close your eyes and tune yourself in to that sensation of touch. Simply the hand touching the chest, and give yourself to it. Okay. Can you feel a heat under the palm? So give yourself to that heat. Is it possible to feel a quality of space there between the hand and the chest? All right. So dive into space. Into the space of your being. Into simply a sense of being. A you that isn't physical, but is still you. Is the space of you contained only between the hand and the chest? No. So be the space that goes beyond, both beyond the hand and the chest and within the form. Both. The space of your being, is it male or female?
Neither.
Neither. Is the space of your being needing to forgive? No. Is anything missing when you look from the space of your being?
No.
So now from these deepest eyes, now you can view the him of the partner. Feel his presence. How does it feel to view him from the eyes of existence itself?
It's fine, it's not a problem.
See a contraction within him. Is space troubled by the contraction?
No.
So it's not enough to say it's fine, it's not a problem. You as space, as pure consciousness being, are not or ever can be in contraction. But nonetheless, from this expansive eye, you can witness the contraction in another aspect of the eye. Whether it's the personal you or the form of the husband you, it's all I. Now compassion is looking. Now the vast intelligence that is you is looking. Only now is it clear what must unfold. It's not a decision from this perspective. There's no choice about it. So when you're ready, can you open your physical eyes, but allow the eyes of space to look through them? What's happening?
There's no judgment or there's no categorization.
Okay. Now from the position of no categorization, now you can look at the categories. Right? Otherwise it's very easy for a child mind still, because a child mind is still here, to say, okay, I am that which is non-categorization, therefore I don't need to look at the detail. It's not quite that. You are the detail. But now you simply have the broadest, most panoramic view on it. You are all the detail, therefore you know all of it. Infinite compassion for all the ways in which you understand yourself, misunderstand yourself. Only now is it safe for you to really look at the complexities of what was playing out between you. So many teachings, as I know you already know, but now you have the wisdom and the space to look. The child mind will fight to hold on to its knowing and stamp its foot. No, but I know this. In a misunderstood sense of strength. This is strength. It's not trying to hold on to anything, it is everything. Now you can see that little one in the hymn that's holding on to you, and why that would be. You can see the reactivity in the you and why it would be. This is a two-way deal, you see. The more you come back here and reside as the eyes and the eye of existence, the more scope you have on the little I. So from this position, you then can unravel the little I because it is still there. The recognition of deeper I is just the first step. That's you turning on the microscope. All right. Now you can catch this little one. The more you catch this little one and stop the reactivity, because when you catch it, there won't be an overspilling, or that's the responsibility now. And then you bring your focus back to the deeper I that can't overspill because it can't react. And this reactive one melts slowly, slowly, slowly. And life will send you a new test, many in a day, to confirm that this one is constantly melting, releasing its hold, and melting into I. This is what we can call the growing up of the child mind into the true adult, into the great parent.
This is just the thing that there's so much reactivity that I just feel that
In you?
in both, that we just have to step away, and
Okay.
because it just goes round and round in circles.
For now.
Yeah.
Everything that arises, prostrate yourself to it. Do you understand what I mean when I say prostrate? Let's taste it.
Yeah.
It's not an idea, it's an inward sensation, an inward reality. If you just close your eyes for a moment. Okay. And can you visualize before you a huge tree? A tree in summertime. Mature and green. Feel the presence of it. Is it possible to feel its presence? Okay. Now can you prostrate yourself before it? Now I mean inwardly, but since we're visualizing, you can visually lie yourself down if you need to, before the tree, and give yourself to the tree. How does it feel?
It feels good.
Is the tree in any way a threat to your form?
No.
Do you need anything from the tree?
No.
No. And now we're going to replace the beautiful form of the tree with the beautiful form of your husband. And see him before you. And feel his presence. Can you feel his presence? Okay. And again, inwardly prostrate yourself, and if that means visually seeing yourself do it, that's fine. Does he feel a threat to you, this form?
No.
No. Do you need anything of this form?
No.
No. And now when you're ready, can you open your physical eyes, but allow inner prostration to look through them? Each contraction that comes up, see it in front of you, feel its vibration, and prostrate yourself before it. Only then can you understand it. Only then can it release and return back to you, to Source. Thank you.
first I feel to express some gratefulness towards what's happening here. I know. I came here with a question which you were mentioning just before about how life situation can test us with doubt. You've been talking about quite a bit of doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And for me it looks like, I mean, it's obvious, the last couple of years at least, I've been incredibly tested with making decisions, small, big, and finding myself making mostly the wrong decision, or it appears to be the wrong decision. And I've been really struggling with this to a point where I even feel like starting to doubt about my own, how I'm making those decisions. And I heard what you said about this, connecting with the knowing and just feeling, and in the past it seems I was better at that, spontaneously, without asking myself so many questions. And I have a very clear knowing, it feels like, of who am I, and yet this is happening, this incredible messy process, very messy process, and which is painful at times, be very painful if the decision is important and I can see I fucked up or what. Say, this is incredible, and it come to a point where, like, okay, here's a decision, I can feel what I want or what I need, or in a more spontaneous way. And yet I choose, or I fail to take the decision until the choice is made by life or others. And I say, shit. It's like, oh. So it feels like self-betrayal in a way. There's something going on like that. I can't now helping feeling something. There's some not there, some not.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is in the way, and it's just like, and I'm watching that, and I felt very touched what you were saying, that actually obstacle, because it has felt so much as an obstacle to my freedom. And I heard what you said, that those obstacles are actually to bring me closer to freedom. And I hear that, I say, yes, of course, yes. And I already had this, this attitude, but still I'm struggling.
Yes.
Still I'm getting there, but it's...
I understand. Okay. You still feel very far away. Would you come forward a little bit? That's better. Thank you. Yes. Well, first of all, to say what grace that it is so messy. Because that is proof of the seeing. Do you see, when a being tastes the reality, when they taste the pure heart, everything has to be shattered. The emotional heart is cracked into 1,000 pieces. And it's going to be pandemonium for a while. Chaos for a while. And it needs to be. And it feels very frightening. It feels frightening on so many levels. On the one hand, you've just tasted the wonder of you. Excuse me. You've just tasted the magnitude and the beauty of you, the peace that you are. And the mind can't comprehend why you would suddenly be in the depths of despair. But it is because of your seeing. It's an earthquake, literally. So bow to the earthquake. The child mind is always thinking it knows best.
Say that again?
The child mind always thinks it knows best. It thinks that love has got it wrong. There shouldn't be this mess. It should not be this way. But this is the beautiful journey into you. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. The child mind is always saying, am I there yet? It's so goal-oriented. It doesn't matter whether it takes another 60 lifetimes. Yeah, I know, the head shakes.
Don't say that.
Okay. Let's eat this one. 60 lifetimes, 650 lifetimes. Why does it matter? What matters is your sincerity. You are serving in countless ways. Do you see, a being is so locked in their own little condensed form, they can't see that they are one being appearing as all the billions of forms, and it's therefore one being awakening through the many. The true service is to hand yourself over. It's not your life to live. It's not your body.
Can you repeat that? True service?
True service is to hand yourself over. It is not your life to live.
It's not my life to live. I don't understand.
It's not up to you how life is lived. It's not your body. The true surrender to the Great One is to say, whatever it takes, however long it takes, I'm in service to that. I'm in service to the Great One. Use me as you will. The child mind seeks to know and define itself with its understanding of knowledge. That's its form of control. Do you see that when a child mind thinks it knows something, it feels safe? It's part of its armor, its protection. It's controlling existence via its knowledge. Now, when a being awakens to the heart, we've got another journey awaiting us. Because the child mind is still there, but it's just tasted the immensity of true knowledge. And therefore it will go through a journey of holding on tenaciously to that, redefining itself for a while, and pushing still. But this child mind is not the enemy. It's not the baddie. We're not telling it off. Your knowing is the great parent that guides it in. So of course, after this seeing has occurred for you, you say the last 2 years have been a very strong time since of decisions being thrown at you and you not being able to seemingly make them. Okay. This is life's test. Who is the decision maker? Who thinks that they are living their life? Let life live you. A knowing is not a decision, and I know that you know that. So when apparent decisions are put before you, that's the child mind holding on and saying, no, but I am me. I am in control of this universe. I make decisions. I am autonomous. at the same time, this is the subtlety of this period. It is such a volatile time when you come to the heart. Prostrate yourself to the volatile time. But within that is the sincerity to not overspill. Do you understand that expression?
Sincerity of?
To not overspill.
Means, I heard that a few times
Yes.
here yesterday.
It means to give your reactivity out to others, to spill your pain over onto others. Okay, this is the delicate nature of this time, because there is so much burning. You are more identified now than you have ever been. More messy, more turbulent. But this is really the hero and the heroine's step, is to take responsibility, to feel the turbulence, to prostrate yourself to each contraction and not deny it. Not brush it aside or kick it, to listen to it. And you can only fully listen to it when you're looking and listening from the eyes of being. And then from the eyes of knowing, being, you won't overspill. Do you see, it's two things happening actually at the same time, because it's all you. You are confirming your position in your knowing, the untouchable I, while still tasting the little I that is touched by something. And from this position you can hold that little one, let it voice its pain, actually taste it. And as soon as is possible, bring your focus back and see, is this one reacting, is this one feeling that contraction? And that then reduces the fuel here. There's no oxygen left, the fire goes out. That's the work. And it takes time, because you're a beautifully complex mechanism. There are layers inside of your layers. And the humility is handing over the question of, am I there yet?
Yes.
Okay, so let's be clear about the 60 lifetimes. Can you put your left hand on your chest? Okay. So again, I'd just like, while you're here, to talk us through what I said earlier about the concentration, contemplation, meditation, and have real clarity about it. Because the child mind does not want to concentrate. So that's why we touch the hand against the chest. Very simple. And give yourself to that. Give yourself to the softness of the palm. You may feel a warmth there. You may even feel a tingling. Whatever you feel, give yourself to it. Okay. So now we can move into contemplation. Can you see if you can feel a quality of space between the hand and the chest? All right. So give yourself to the space. The body is still there, whilst you give yourself to space. The space of you. And feel the expansiveness of that space. Does the space of you take any particular shape? No. Is it contained between the hand and the chest only? So be the space that you cannot contain, that has no shape. The space of your being. Is the space of your being male or female? No. Does the space of you need anything? No. Is the space of you trying to do anything? No. And now from the space of your being, do you mind how long it takes?
No, no. But immediately was yes. There was still this.
Okay, very good. So the space itself is space minding.
Space.
Does space itself mind?
Space mind.
Does space worry about how long it's going to take?
For me, it's doing this. It's obvious, yeah. I don't mind how long it takes, but the interference just of the mind.
It's okay.
Maybe what you call the child mind just doesn't take long to interfere.
This child mind is not the enemy. Even in the word the interference, it has a heaviness to it. This is the one getting in my way.
Totally.
Yes.
That's how I perceive it. It's this intruding. It's intruding and yes, even with extended period of no intrusion, with being active in the world or whatever, these intrusions happen. And I don't like it. It's true. I judge it, and
Is space judging? Is space judging?
No, it's totally. There's no connection between. It feels there is no bridge between those.
Okay, so the bridge. It's a beautiful way that you've said it. You feel there's no bridge between the two, but the bridge is you bringing that little one straight back. So you feel space, you say, has no judgment, but you feel that little one coming in very quickly with the judgment. And what we could call the bridge is you instantly bringing your focus back to your knowing, to the one that cannot judge, and the little judger loses its grip, loses its hold. All right, and then it's going to come up again. We'll build the bridge, if you want to use that term, straight back into your knowing that cannot judge, and the judging melts. And it takes time.
It takes lots of time, again and again and again.
Does it matter?
And when it feels like acquired, there's another situation.
Love in the form of an apparent intrusion.
I like
Do you
that.
see how you're negating yourself all of the time? You don't negate a child because it makes a mistake. You guide it.
Yeah, this negation is very... I did work on that for a while, and I can see some progress. Very slow again. But this negation must be very subtle, very deep.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, it is everything for the child mind. It is its base. The child mind, in forgetting knowing, in forgetting the space of its being, is on a mission to get it back. Do you understand? It's craving it desperately, but at the same time it's fighting it desperately, and this is the confusion. And this gives birth to what you're calling the negation. It gives birth to self-hatred, because the child mind, in craving for love and fighting love so desperately, turns its back on love within that fight. And the turning of your back on love equals self-hatred, which is the I am unworthy, I am not good enough, I must be negated. And this is the fundamental base of the human psyche. So you're articulating on behalf of all.
Say that again?
You're speaking on behalf of all, of everyone. If you realize this child mind has been searching and searching and searching, and finally it sits in front of the thing it's been searching for and sees it and recognizes it. But within that recognition of that moment, it then remembers all the times it has felt let down by that. Do you see, your learned understanding of love is a love that betrays you, that doesn't live up to its promises. So the minute you sit in front of yourself and recognize yourself, you open up the box on all of that memory of misunderstood love. And it's going to fight. And allow it, because that which has been hidden and suppressed away needs a voice.
Needs a voice.
It does. And this is again the subtlety of this time. It's why this time is not understood by many beings. Because someone has that journey, has that taste of itself, and cracks wide open. And beings around you who haven't yet cracked wide open are very frightened by what they see. Because should you not be emanating peace and love at this point? Not this turbulent, chaotic mess. And that will feed your doubt. Others' doubt is your own doubt. Prostrate yourself to this child mind and allow it its voice, whilst having the absolute sincerity and integrity to bring your focus back. And it will feel like a seesaw initially. Child mind parent, child mind parent. Of course that's not the reality, it's all parent containing the child mind. But eventually, the more you do this work, it'll be almost a simultaneous movement of feeling the burn of the child whilst residing as parent, letting it voice, bringing it back. It does not matter how long it takes. Your awakening and your misunderstanding is serving in countless ways. And your misunderstanding is serving in countless ways.
Serving in countless
ways. What I mean by that is that your misunderstanding here is someone else's awakening over here. You can't see the bigger picture. Do you see someone else, a loved one, doubting you, doubting your knowing? Is you deepening in your knowing? That's your opportunity to stand as you are and not wobble. Therefore, their misunderstanding is your awakening. This is how I am serving myself in countless ways. It's so beautiful. And this child mind is also containing wisdom. If you don't prostrate yourself to the contraction, you can't hear the wisdom hidden in it. Do you see, we were talking about earlier where a member of the team could feel dissonance within the team and was learning how to articulate her knowing of that without being critical. The child mind will be critical and judgmental. The only reason is that a knowing is felt, but you're not stable yet in your knowing. Somehow the pusher strives out, and the child mind, in fighting to state its knowing, pushes. but the wisdom is still there. That's why we can't negate the child mind, because it has to air itself to get to the root that it's actually trying to say, and then expand it, broaden it. It's like you are beginning the greatest of all archaeological digs. But you know how an archaeologist is, how excited they are when they find each find, how they polish it, and it's so precious, this little scrap of metal that looks like nothing. It's like a child in their hands. That's your psyche. Each little scrap is treasure. You are so beautiful and you can't see it. And actually, what we could say to that, it is because you are beginning to see your beauty that the little one is fighting and saying, I can't see beauty. All is well.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love.
I feel in contraction, and it's why I feel to speak. It's about to want to get something, and what is the means of want to get. In this case, it's about what we spoke yesterday about who is trying to serve Ma. When I'm served from the heart and the mix of both, the one need to be in service and the one love to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So just I felt I cannot do it anymore. This is the feeling, I don't want to do it anymore. To need to abuse the mass form or Sangha or Ma, the feminine, or and in the meantime it's so strong, the need still. And something in me also is beginning to see this behavior, and I feel the joy to serve Ma in the not be near to Ma also, but just to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so much fear for not be able to respect and Yeah, I would like to give this to Ma, this to really learn to be in the integrity, because yesterday when I went to home, my apartment, I start to feel what I did, how I'm doing these days in your presence. There is part that is true, is new and is fresh and is just a joy of. Another part because I'm testing again the joy, and after get attached to that for example.
Get attached to the joy, do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, one day, nobody saw that was something that normally is near to Ma, but was far. So just come from my heart, and I went and put it, no? And I was just don't thinking about that. I saw it, and I did. But next day I saw it again, no? And I was just wanting that nobody saw it, and I can move it again near to you. So that is the need.
The need, can I just be clear, the next day you felt there was need moving it? But
The next day I was just hoping
I see,
that
okay.
nobody see it, so I can move
understand.
it.
Okay,
No?
yes.
And after when you ask me how I'm doing the service, if I'm really respecting the respecting the space, and I say I start to feel in the night if I'm really, it's really mixed, and there is so much need still.
Yes. My love, the need is not going to disappear overnight. We're in it. What matters is that when it's pointed out to you, that you really take it in, that you really absorb what Mara is saying, and you don't answer back. Because it is true, there is a freshness now, something new is growing, is being born. A being is so complex, you're never just one thing. A different movement is occurring, but the need is still there. And it comes out in very hidden ways. Now, as I've said to you before, service comes so naturally for you, for this form of you. But Ma had asked you to step away from service, so when you were going to be close with the team here in India, you've not been in service for 3 months, and then to be here close with the team was not actually to be in service, just to be with us, to be close. And of course, naturally what happened, there were ways in which things could be done to help. It doesn't matter what it was, washing up, shopping, whatever it is, tidying the ashram space. And there was things going on, there was a freshness coming, there was a spontaneous moving arising in you, a new way of being in service. But there was also, when I pointed it out last night, I could feel that little one claiming and finding ways in which to belong, and also to become indispensable again. You know this word? All right. The need to be needed was very strong, and you were cultivating ways in order to be needed and useful. Right, sweetheart. Now, when I pointed it out to you, tears came, and there was a retraction of, but Ma, can't you see the freshness? And then we had to sit with it for a while, because of course the freshness is seen. But all of the need will not disappear overnight. That is the sincerity required, to be willing to be pointed out to yourself, even when you can't fully see it yet. And I'm very happy to hear that when you took it away last night, you could feel that contraction, that vibration of holding. The child mind always feels told off. I'm not good enough. Ma's not happy with me. I haven't got it right. I've failed. It's listening from that perspective. And how can it possibly receive what's being offered when it's listening from there? It can't. That is the inward prostration at every moment, especially when you don't understand what's being said to you. I'm happy to hear you say, I don't want this to continue, but also let's be clear about that statement. Because it's very finite. The child mind is saying, it has to go, it can't be here, the badness must go. It doesn't work that way. It's an unpeeling layer by layer. What Ma's looking out for is the willingness to face it.
What I mean when I say I don't want that to continue is I don't want to say that I'm not doing something that I'm doing.
Okay, that's what I mean.
It's what I mean also.
Okay, good.
Because I realize that maybe I'm not ready to be
That I'm not ready is multi-layered. It's very strong in you, my love. The self-hatred is so dense. It is in all beings. When it comes out in you, it comes out in a heavy way. You can feel, I am not ready, is not a humble maybe there's more time required. The space of saying, maybe I need more time. There's an I am not ready is a negation.
It's painful.
Yes.
Understand.
It's painful because it's still coming from I am not good enough to be in service, rather than realizing the service of not being in the physical service, as we spoke about last night, the extraordinary service, the gift of the service that you've had in not being closed for this time to do the deep work.
I can feel it. I start to feel joy too.
Let the eyes of silence look through those eyes. Close them if you have to beforehand. And when you're ready, let the vastness of silence look through. Is it possible? Is silence pushing for anything? No. Is silence in need of anything? Is that clear? Okay. We're catching the need moment by moment. It's very fine work, and you're in it. Don't rush it. That's enough for now, my love. Thank you.